But sincerely, that will not warrant that this committee reschedule what we are doing right now. Observations. Can I please say what I have to say? Yes, that is why we are here, so that observations can be made, so that correction can be made, so that we can point out those gray areas they are not comfortable with, so that we can say those things that they need to go and rework. That is why we are here. So whatever questions have been raised is quite in order. However, it will be necessary for us to allow the ministry, either the minister or I think the PAMSEC is here and all of them, they can say one thing or the other to clarify those things we are not comfortable with. Mr. Chair, may I urge you that we continue with the proceedings that we are having here this afternoon, and allow the chairman, the PAMSEC, and anybody concerned to answer our questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I represent Ajeromi Felonu Federal Constituency, the Mini Nigeria. I'm from Lagos State, the state of aquatic splendor. I rise to also second my senator from Lagos to say that the essence of budget defense is not for us to also overlook. It's for us to scrutinize. It's for us to make corrections. It's for us to make amendments. The power to appropriate lies with us. And therefore, if there are noticeable differences that we have observed, and judging the fact that the budget defense is not going to last forever, we also have a time frame because the nation awaits all of us. This is a budget that must be implemented within time so that the nation can move forward. So we cannot over delay. My submission, therefore, is that if anybody, and the distinguished senator is very vehement about certain issues, he could, through the chair, also request for detailed information and explanation. Therefore, there will be no need to postpone this sitting. We should continue. I so second. Thank you.
Massa. No, we're not.
Thank you. Honestly. So I think we should be able to see where they need more funding in order to make sure that it's implementable, because I quite honestly think it's grossly underfunded. That's my own submission. Thank you.
Revert. We're talking about dredging of River Niger. Yes, it's desirable to ensure that of about 10,000 kilometers of inland waterways, only 3,800 appears navigable. So any attempt to really ensure that most of these things are dredged will help in terms of water transportation. But it's, again, capital intensive. So it's not something that we can be talking of putting in the budget with the kind of money that is available here. It's really capital intensive. The other alternative we are trying to explore on that, because there have been proposals from some private companies to do a PPP with us. If that works, then we can look at it. But for the ministry to embark on the dredging of the River Niger would be huge in terms of amount that is necessary, but it's desirable. I agree with you entirely. Talking about the impact, talking about the question of revenue, I want to say categorically that we've actually increased the revenue of our agencies within the past 1 year. The report we submitted to the authority clearly indicates, even the first year report clearly indicated the fact that revenue has gone up by more than 62%. And that is something that could be verified. So in terms of impact on whatever we've done as a ministry, the revenue of agencies have actually gone up. And that's really the measure of success of any ministry or agency. So I want to put it on record that that's been achieved. The CVFF, yes, the fund is there. There's nothing to it. We're just trying to ensure that we put the correct template in place. I don't want to be the minister whose tenure would now witness a situation where the fund contributed by ship owners have been diverted one way or the other to some other things. So again, the initial program was more for the commercial banks to handle the something. But if you look at the interest rate of commercial bank, there's no ship owner that could access that fund, paying about 20-something%. So we've actually now decided to bring in the development banks with a single digit for interest. So the MASA has been working on that. I think they did an advertisement asking people who have interest to show their interest. I still spoke to the DG, the MASA, yesterday, and he told me they are almost completing the process of disbursement. So we are being careful to ensure transparency and accountability. That's why it's not been disbursed. Yes, dredging continues to come up, particularly in riverine areas. Dredging is very capital intensive, so it's a function of availability of funds. Dredging will always be needed to ensure that our waterways are navigable. So we're looking at increasing that in terms of water transportation. It's cheaper and safer for us to travel by road, by water. If you look at the fact that 28 of the states have boundaries with the Gulf of Guinea, for instance, so water transportation will be more, beneficial to those people around that area than going even by road. So it's something that we want to encourage. Lake Chad, yes, we are trying to bring back the issue of fishery and aquaculture. Only recently the department was transferred to us. So we already have a fishery policy that was supported by World Bank and World Fish that has been placed now. We're trying to ensure that we're able to access other funding from other agencies, particularly foreign agencies. We visited Morocco to see the template of their fishery and aquaculture, and we're trying to do the same thing here. It takes time because we didn't get the opportunity of the ministry taking over the fishery and aquaculture until now. Even as I speak, the budget for the fishery and aquaculture has not been, transferred to the ministry. So if we're able to get all of that, I believe we have programs for artisanal fishermen to even put them in cooperatives and create jobs for our people. Then we'll be able to tackle the problem of IUU, illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing by some of the foreign nationals that will affect our fish, rebrand them and sell it back to us, and we'll use our foreign reserve or foreign exchange to buy even our own fish. We're trying to deploy technology to be able to address that. So reclaiming the Lake Chad is desirable. Again, the issue will be funding. We have the right fund. There are people that can always embark on that. We have agencies and companies that do a lot of dredging, and they are willing to do that for us. But budget constraint will always be what we need to look at. And I must thank the chairman of House Committee on Harbor, Marine and Harbor Administration, generally, for the interest shown in ensuring that we have the capital to really do most of these things. If you are going to harness the resources in the blue economy, you must be ready to spend money. Once you are able to do that, then you can be too sure that this revenue generation and efficiency that we expect will come up. I must commend the agencies for doing their bit, particularly in the areas of revenue, but I want to equally say that they should be allowed to have substantial amount of the revenue to spend on delivering on their mandate. They are not just generating revenue, they are spending money to generate revenue. So if you constrain them too much, they won't be able to do much. So I'm appealing generally that the agencies should be properly given the opportunity to use a lot of their resources in bringing back the revenue. And in any case, with the modernization of the port that we're trying to embark on, I want to assure you that things will change. The problem we have with not having efficient generation of revenue is the fact that the draft level of our ports is low. When you have Togo having about 16.5 meters, Cameroon having about 16.5, Ghana 16, and I think Cote d'Ivoire 16. Ours is about 12 and 13. The implication of that is that we can attract big vessels. So most of the cargo that is supposed to come to Nigeria have been diverted to these neighboring countries, and we're losing a lot of revenue. Nigeria is supposed to be the hub of transshipment in West Africa particularly. Most of these cargo are even meant for Nigeria, but they are diverted to those places because our draft level is very low. But with the modernization that we're doing, that the President has approved, which is ready for FEC, we believe that if we increase our draft to 16 meters, we're able to attract the right vessels, and that will increase the cargo turnout. We've reduced the vessel turnaround time from about 10 days to about 4 days now. The truck turnaround time from about 10 days in the past to hours now. We've improved on the issue of exports. Exports are now being processed before getting to the port for shipment. With all this, the automation, with the introduction of the national single window system, we're automating all the processes. If you do that, you're going to ensure that you maximize your revenue. The ultimate of anything you are doing as a ministry and agency is increase the revenue. It can only come up when you have efficient operation of your ports and other agencies in terms of safety and other things. So I thank you very much for the opportunity to respond to these questions. Thank you.
Thank you. You still have.
I'm so happy to hear that we have a fish policy, because one thing has been bothering me. We have trawlers from outside of this country coming into our water, cutting away our fishes without paying a dime to us in this country. Is that how we are going to continue to look at them? Is this, this fish policy that we have, is it actually taking care of that? Because we see them coming, into our waters, and they're just going away without paying taxes. And I don't know whether they're paying taxes. Maybe the ministry will be able to shed more light on that. Again, I heard the Honourable Minister saying and agreeing to the fact that it is desirable to dredge both River Niger and Lake Chad. If truly it is desirable, and we see the benefit and the importance of doing it, can we begin to put a process in place? Yes, I know we do. The ministry is underfunded. We have so much to do with little funds. Yes, I agree with you. But then, if you put this process in place, we're not going to come here next time and start listening to the same questions. Because even if the question comes, we'll have prepared plan in place to be able to express to whoever may have that question, at that particular time. So I will suggest I will put a process in place as to how we're going to go this and do a proper presentation at budget next year and see whether we can take this in phases or there's a way we can do it that at the end of the day will achieve what we think is desirable. Those are my questions. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
I think, and plus item number 77 on page 10, the implementation of PPP, which PPP, there is need for detailed explanation on this kind of these things. So my suggestion is we give the minister and the ministry time to respond to these questions in writing, because it is not easy for them to just tell us this and that and go over with it. You see, it is very important. We need these questions. So I think I'm calling for a postponement of this meeting to allow them sit down, look at it, because I'm sure they have taken note of all the things, to come up with a comprehensive response to it. Otherwise, they will go away without answering these questions, which will make us make all this thing submission questionable. So I'm moving that.
Mr. Chairman,
I'm moving
please,
that we postpone this meeting and allow them to respond to all these questions.
I think we're overheating this thing.
Hello, colleagues, most distinguished senators, chairman, and honorable minister and your team. We thank you for coming. The most important thing is that you see this as a very symbiotic engagement where ideas will be shared, and we cannot say that we don't know what the problem of Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy is. Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy in this budget, I don't think the total amount you have is about 22. About 11 of it goes to NIWA, 12. About 8, whatever, goes to NIWA, boats, whatever, and then 2 billion for dredging. How can 2 billion naira dredge the entire nation? How is it possible? And you are giving KPI. The KPI you're given is not matched by the resources allocated to that ministry. We will continue to, because we felt that you should use your position to attract more funding to your ministry. I'm not even sure that will be going a long way to even solve the provision of safety jacket and what have you for the ministry. Not to talk of you are grossly underfunded, and so you need to engage your colleagues. And Mr. President, the chairman Potanabo has alluded to the various roles you are meant to perform, and all what we have, and we felt that you need to do more, but we need to provide more also. He has said that the revenue the custom will generate is directly proportional to the kind of services NPA will render, including NIMASA. To deprive NIMASA NPA of fund is to directly limit what can be accruable to the nation via the customs and SSIs. We also know that people have been asking you about fisheries, all this and that, Lake Chad, whatever. But what they don't know is that the fishery is not yet fully moved into the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. They had their budget in the 2024 appropriation year in the Ministry of Agriculture. Even this year is still in Ministry of Agriculture. We are just trying to find a way to pull it back into Ministry of Marine. Yet people are asking you, and you are taking the beat for what is not even in your custody. Well, that is leadership. That is leadership. But I think that we will do all what we can to assist. We know you are underfunded, so that the ministry can move forward. You have a lot. Whatever you do in your ministry also will affect the oil sector, because the Bonnet Channel is where most of these LNG oil vessels pass through, and it is Bonnet Channel is being paid for by NPA, not by NNPC, who ought ordinarily to have contributed to that. And yet these people, like mentioned by our colleagues, are not being paid. They have only been paid first quarter of 2024. You have the responsibility to engage your colleagues and Mr. President that these people need to be paid, and paid early enough so that they can render the service. If there should be a problem, it will affect your ministry, it will affect the customs, it will affect the oil sector, whatever. Naturally, if all those ones are affected, it is going to affect the FIRS. So all these must be highly articulated and presented to the your colleagues and the Federal Executive Council. These people ought to be paid, and the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. The fight for the 2026 budget should start now to be properly funded. If you want certain areas to be dredged, the funding must be provided. you must, even if there are partners who want to engage, the ministry must serve as catalysts. They must serve as catalysts. Start something, do something, and then they see the benefit. People can come in and do whatever, relying on outsiders to do what you ought to do, because you think PPP will work. It might not be the thing. It is right to do all that, but then we must do whatever we have. We hope that the budget defense is appropriate. I thank my colleagues for their insightful question. Where you need to write us, you write us to make further explanation. But for us, because there will be no need to adjourn, the reason is simple. The 2024 budget is also extended till like June, right? And then we can also do, our oversight is not limited. We can also do whatever we want to do during that course of time. But, and the 2025 budget has to go, because we cannot, for whatever reason, delay the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. The others will not wait for us to conclude. So we are going to do whatever we have to do and go ahead and defend with the appropriation committee. As soon as we are done, we will defend and ensure that you get whatever is allocated to you, and pray hopefully you get what is due to you the 2026. You are not saying it enough that you are underfunded. Yes, it is diplomatic, it is our government, but our government, we should help our government to know where we should give our resources to enhance the overall GDP, the resources accruable to the Consolidated Revenue Fund, and to make Nigeria better. So thank you very much. Motion for adjournment. So moved, supported.
Thank you, the respected Honorable Chairman, Co-Chairman, distinguished senators, honorable members of the House of Representatives. My name is Honorable Martin Sisson. I represent the people of Oron, Mbu, Okobo, Udunwuko, Urefon-Orugo Federal Constituency. I'm from Akwa Ibom State. Honorable Chairman, having exhausted the items on the agenda paper, I move that this budget defense session be adjourned sine die. I so move.
The Honorable Minister, Your Excellency and your team, respected colleagues, once again my name is Honorable Pastor Comrade Chief Ojema Ojotu. I reserve one. The Honorable Minister of Marine and Blue Economy holds a strategic position in our nation's economic diversification, with vast potential in inland waterways, coastal region, and maritime resources. This ministry is poised to drive employment creation, food security, revenue generation, and sustainable development. However, potential alone is insufficient. It must be matched with clear policies, strategic investment, and measurable outcomes. Today's session provides an opportunity to ensure the proposed budget align with the ministry mandate, Nigeria expectation, and our national goals. Honorable Minister, your leadership achievement, including a renewed focus on harnessing blue economic resources and promoting waterways transportation, are commendable. However, challenges such as inadequate infrastructure, environmental degradation, and insufficient funding for dredging persist. Of particular importance is the revitalization of inland waterways, which can play a major role in Nigeria industrialization. These waterways has the potential to drastically reduce logistic costs, enhance the movement of goods, and improve access to industry hubs, thereby making our industry more competitive globally. The rally point and operational inland waterway system will attract investment, create jobs, unlock untapped economic opportunity, reduce inflation, and position Nigeria as a maritime and industrial powerhouse in Africa. As we review the budget, our focus should be on prioritizing impactful projects, strengthening safety measures, investing in sustainable practice, and enhancing research and innovation to boost global competitiveness. Let me assure you, Honorable Minister, Director Generals and stakeholders, that this committee is committed to supporting the ministry while demanding accountability to deliver tangible results that will benefit all Nigerians. Together, let us ensure this budget defense contributes to a prosperous maritime sector and a sustainable future of our nation. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
You see now, nobody claps them. Committees and their vice chairmen, distinguished senators, members, House of Reps, the honorable ministers of Marine and Blue Economy, permanent secretaries of various agencies, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this important gathering as it marks the 2025 Budget Defense Meeting and review of the performance of the 2024 Appropriation Act of the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy and laying of the 2025 agile budget proposals for the agencies in the maritime sector. The exercise is one of the core mandates of the legislative arm of government as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, and the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007, which mandates all government corporations and enterprises to submit their scheduled estimate of revenue and expenditure for each fiscal year to the National Assembly for approval. This justifies why we are all gathered here today. As we all know, oversight is also one of the fundamental functions of the legislature. The National Assembly will continue to champion effective oversight over ministries, departments, and agencies of government so as to promote the act of transparency and accountability in the public service. We shall therefore appreciate a maximum cooperation from all the agencies towards carrying out this function for the overall interest of the nation. Honorable Minister, our committees will extend all necessary support needed by the maritime sector to perform optimally, which will in turn boost their revenue generation and increase their remittances to the Federation account through the Consolidated Revenue Fund. Distinguished Senator, honorable members of this joint session, today the Honorable Minister will defend the 2025 budget proposal in the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy and will also formally present the 2025 agile budget proposal of the following agencies: 1, Nigerian Port Authority, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agencies, the Nigerian Shippers Council, the National Inland Waterways Authority, Maritime Academy of Nigeria, ORON, and the Council for Regulation of the Freight Forwarding in Nigeria. On behalf of my colleagues, distinguished senators, honorable members of this joint session, I once again welcome you all. At this junction, it is my pleasure to invite the Honorable Minister of Marine and Blue Economy to formally lay the 2025 IGR budget proposals of the agencies under the ministry. Thank you and God bless. And for the press, they will want anybody who's making a presentation to please use the podium because they think that is where they can capture you best. Is there a request? Not mine.
Administration, Inland Waterways, and Committee on Shipping Services on the occasion of 2025 Budget Defense. Today's budget defense is in respect of the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy and the laying of the government-owned enterprises, DOE's sub-budget, before you, which includes the Nigerian Ports Authority, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, National Inland Waterways Authority, Nigerian Shippers Council, Maritime Academy of Nigeria, ORON, and Council for the Regulation of Freight Forwarding in Nigeria. For the purpose of clarity, I wish to state that 3 of the agencies under the ministry, namely NPA, NIMASA, and Shippers Council, are fully self-funding and make significant remittances to the Consolidated Revenue Fund. The National Inland Waterways Authority, NEWA, Maritime Academy of Nigeria, ORON, derives their funding from both the federal government budget and internally generated revenue. The Council for the Regulation of Freight Forwarding in Nigeria, based on my passionate plea, has been readmitted into the budget for funding, albeit erroneously, under the Federal Ministry of Transport. I trust that you will rectify this anomaly. The 5 agencies under the fisheries and aquaculture sector, institutes and colleges, are expected to come fully under the ministry in the 2025 budget. I also count on your cooperation in this regard. Honorable Chairman and members, you are aware that the 2025 budget is tagged Budget of Restoration, Securing Peace, and Rebuilding Prosperity. Therefore, the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy and its agencies under the 2025 budget seek to consolidate and sustain on the achievements and performances recorded in the immediate past year by focusing on port infrastructural development, increased fish production, maritime safety and security, information technology deployment to improve operation and revenue generation, human capital development, and effective technical and economic regulation to ensure the strengthening of the economy in Nigeria. The total capital appropriation for the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy in 2024 budget is 10,848,512,984. 10,848,512,984 naira. The sum of 9,973,802,613, that is 9,973,802,613 naira, has been utilized, committed at the end of December 2024. Remaining a balance of 874,710,371, which is to be utilized in the first quarter of 2025. In addition, the sum of 191,086,917, that's 191,086,917 naira, was appropriated for overhead expenditure. The sum of 191,086,917 was released up to the month of December 2024. The release amount was expended as at 27th of December 2024. The ministry also received a takeoff grant of 625 million, out of which the sum of 523,763,955 was committed on the ministry's activities. All activities related to the fishery department were funded from this grant. As a newly created ministry, our initial focus is to set up enduring structures and systems for the effective management of the blue economy sector. The notable deficiencies in the sector, such as general infrastructure decay, silted river courses, inadequate fish production, and inadequate river crafts, require major attention. The ministry is therefore initiating several projects and programs aim at addressing these challenges. The Ministry, as you are all aware, is pleased and happy with your review of the legal frameworks for the sector. On our part, we are also reinforcing the Ministry's oversight and monitoring mandate over its agencies. All of this require greater budgetary provision. Under the 2024 appropriation, the Ministry finalized the preparation of the Nigerian National Blue Economy Strategy, the Fisheries and Agriculture Policy, the Strategic Roadmap for Nigerian Blue Economy, and the National Policy for Marine and Blue Economy. These documents are the foundation for a sound policy framework for the Ministry. Also, pursuant to its mandate and the charge given by Mr. President, the Ministry is developing dry ports at Ijebu-Ode and Moniya in Ogun State and Oyo State respectively. These IDPs are targeted for fast-tracked delivery to decongest the Western Port system. Design consultancies for the project are ongoing. As a quick response to the spate of both missiles on our inland waterways occasioned by increased traffic on waterways, the Ministry has targeted the provision of life jackets to the riverine communities in the state to boost safety of passengers. Also, major program is to replace rickety wooden boats used for commercial transport with standardized crafts, and capital dredging at selected locations on our major rivers are planned for 2025. The Ministry was unable to assess the 2024 capital appropriation of the Fisheries and Agriculture Department. However, in the 2025 budget proposal, the Ministry is initiating major projects in the fisheries and agriculture subsector to boost fish production. These projects are deliberately tied to government capital budget to guarantee fast-track delivery and assured food security. Quantum investment through the capital budget is necessary for the Ministry to deliver on its lofty mandate and potential revenue. Greater budget provision is therefore advocated. The proposed total capital budget of 11,770,533,003, though inadequate, is for your kind consideration. Finally, let me most heartily thank you all for your unflinching support and cooperation given to the Ministry throughout the past year. I sincerely count on your continued understanding and urge this august body to consider the propositions and know the very compelling needs of the Ministry to set up enduring policy, operational and administrative structure to deliver the potentials of the sector. Thank you and God bless you.